With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
So what you're going to do is you're going to combine a cup of mayonnaise, a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of brown mustard, a tablespoon of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of horseradish, a teaspoon of lemon juice, half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, hot sauce, garlic powder and onion powder, quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper, salt, pepper, and 2 2/3 of a mile of asphalt. And you'll be left with a delicious Alabama barbecue super speedway. Welcome to Round 5 in 2023 Season 2 for the PRL NASCAR Truck Series and the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series, both live from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Hi everybody, my name is Joey Tebbin. Joining me in the booth is Mr. Dylan Coyle, and behind the scenes is our producer, Arjuna Kankapati. Dylan, I got a question for you. Have you ever played the original Sonic the Hedgehog? Because right now I'm feeling like it's time for Dega.
Oh man, that intro was awesome. Can I just give you some snaps right there? That was just beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm very much ready for some Dega. Man, now I got Sonic on the mind. This is gonna be fun. Gonna be a very exciting race. After it's over, we're halfway through the season. This is a very interesting halfway mark. Pretty much the most interesting you can possibly get. Timed races at Talladega at the Super Speedway, gonna be unique.
Yeah, dare I say we might even be going supersonic this week at Talladega Super Speedway. And like Dylan said, it is truly the last part of the first half of the season. If you want to make a championship challenge here in the Truck Series or the Xfinity Series, you better start doing it now. You better start getting your season in ship shape. And speaking of some of those championship challengers, well, there's one championship challenger at the moment, because Mr. Brett Karakoff has been absolutely dominant this season. We can say that much. 2 first places, 1 second place in 4 races. It's been a great season for Mr. Karakoff. But Pierre-Luc Ryu, Austin Hunter, Dallas Sullivan, and Alan Dice are all reasonably close to each other. They're all hoping that Brett Karakoff has a couple of bad luck weeks here and starts to lose some of those points. While Patrick Cowgill, Barron Hilton, Kevin McGarvey, Nicholas Starling, and Steve Loving, they've all had their own shots of speed over the first 4 rounds of the season. They're hoping for some similar bad luck to strike the dominant Brett Karakoff. Then in the team's championship, it's much closer up at the top. Regenboog Motorsports has traded fortunes, we can say, with Brett Karakoff having some great fortunes. Colton Easterday, not so much. He's had the bad luck this season. That's all evened out to give them the team's championship lead, though. Loaded Dice Racing are very much within touching distance, as are Whataback Racing Speedworks and the newcomers at NASCAR Motorsports as well. So it's pretty close quarters there in the top 4. Then Whataback Racing, their second team, Established Traffic Control, BTDY Racing, DDI Motorsports, Discarl Motorsports, and then Love Racing and Consult Info. Make it a full 10-team lineup here in the NASCAR Truck Series in the PRL. Qualifying should be underway here in a matter of moments. Before we can get into that, we have to thank all the people who make all of this possible here at the PRL, and as always, we begin alphabetically first with Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. And then from Advanced Sim Racing, it's Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and also get a 5% discount, also using the Precision5 coupon code. This coverage is also brought to you by The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products provide an incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with The Butt Kicker. And Mechasim Hardware is a small company from the Czech Republic, and their goal is to produce high-quality sim racing hardware. If you're looking for a high-end pedal set, handbrake, or sequential shifter, visit Mechasim Hardware's eShop right now to get you up to speed and check them out. And Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. And last but not least, NinjaTrader. Better futures start now. Trade the world's future markets with NinjaTrader and visit ninjatrader.com to access unlimited free trade simulation. Now it's time for unlimited qualifying simulation, or should I say very much limited qualifying situations here at Talladega Superspeedway. Dylan, Steve Loving currently on top, but you've got 5 minutes and you got 2 laps to build up as much speed as humanly possible around this 2 2/3 of a mile track.
Yeah, usually we'd be jumping right in to race trim on most of these tracks. Talladega, it's kind of different. There's no draft help, and that's going to lead to these times obviously being just a tad slower as Steve Loving decides to lovingly cross the line, and we jump right to Nicolas Saint-Germain as he also crosses the line currently in P4. All these drivers are, they pretty much started right at the beginning of this session, of this qualifying session, just because it's 5 minutes. You've got probably 3.5 minutes almost of time spent getting yourself on the track and getting ready, so there's not much time to spare for putting a lap down.
Well, Brendan Shatley brings it to the line. He's been on pole this season twice. Not going to be so lucky this time. Only 13th place for the driver of the number 59. Garrett Austin brings it to the line, picks up a full second from his initial qualifying lap, so there was clearly some strategery there. He puts himself P6. Patrick Cowgill puts himself P4, but Steve Loving, he's got something figured out. With only 55 seconds left on the clock, you're going to be hard-pressed to beat that.
Well, it's interesting you talk about that second gained on the second lap. I think that's pretty much every driver is gaining time on that second lap. You want to get the longest line possible around the track on your first or second go-around and put everything into it on that second time lap. You want to go riding right up against the wall, gain the most speed you possibly can before it's time to really set the lap speeds, really set those times as we're under 20 seconds left here. 2 thousandths separates Loving and Brodeur. Kevin McGarvey, we are watching his time. He's 72 hundredths off of the leader, and Steve Loving, 6 seconds left, 5. He crosses the line, and McGarvey, I think, stays right where he was. Checkered is out. It's time to
Two Whataback drivers waited until the dying seconds of that session. Both Kyle Strykars, who actually won here last time we ran here at Talladega, and Kevin McGarvey in the dying seconds can only put themselves in the second half of the top 20. The qualifying is complete here at Talladega, and you'll notice once we get to the back of the grid, a lot of drivers were disallowed from qualifying, but Steve Loving was allowed to qualify, and he has put it on pole yet again in a super speedway. He starts alongside Dis Carl's Dominic Brodeur, and then it's Matt Karakoff looking for his first win to match his brother Brett alongside Patrick Cowgill. Then it's Nicolas Saint-Germain and Garrett Austin on row number 3. P7 went to Kevin Jobin alongside his intra-squad teammate Pierre-Luc Ryu. Colton Easterday just won an official race in the C-Fix series on iRacing before he came into this session. He starts in the top 10 alongside Kevin McGarvey. Brett Karakoff, championship leader, a little deeper than he would have hoped alongside Ryan Traver. And unlucky 13th went to Hayden Palumbo. CM Punk Pennington, 14th ahead of Cody Adkins and Brendan Shatley. Kyle Strykars in the dying seconds of the session put a P17 alongside Mr. Stacey Hunter. Then 19th Oliver Goff, 20th Tom Amasi, and that is the end of the qualifying drivers because a lot of drivers were very, very naughty at Martinsville last week. Zachary Smith, Richard Pruitt, Baron Hilton, Dalton Geyer, Curtis Norman, and Thomas Brendel were all disallowed from qualifying. Interestingly, though, 2 names I didn't mention there, Dallas Sullivan and Alan Dice just elected not to qualify, as did Austin Hunter, as did Nicholas Starling, as did Zach Panzarella. So, interestingly, a few drivers disallowed from qualifying, a few drivers simply electing not to qualify. Dylan, it's all sorts of early chess games and strategy at the back.
We see the 6th spot of drivers, except maybe in the top left corner. That's an empty-looking next-level racing seat, but nonetheless, we can definitely say that qualifying at a super speedway means almost nothing, Joey. This is going to be catastrophic for some drivers. The strategy of starting in the back, well, it's not because it's a dumb strategy. It's because they want to stay out of trouble. They want to stay out of the way of the wrecks that are going to come. We're rolling here at 1 pace lap, 2.66 miles in length. let's talk a little bit about the track temperature. Because it's hot. That means there's going to be a lot of melting tires, even on these very intensely banked surfaces. Obviously, tire wear means almost nothing. But do you think it could have something to do with the 113 degree Fahrenheit on track?
It is a very, very hot day here in Alabama. It's the springtime, it's the summertime in the south. It's always pretty hot, but it's starting to get into those summer temperatures. The sun is out here, and I don't think we'll be thinking about tire wear too much in these trucks, Dylan, but we always have to have something to talk about. We always love talking about the weather.
That's usually my go-to when I'm trying to impress someone. So
well, I got
what's
good
that
news
weather
for
like
you,
today?
Yes. Because we have a tradition here in the PRL Wednesday night series that whenever we go to a super speedway, we break out the random number generator from 1 to 100 to see who's going to win the race. So I've got it over to my left here. Let's see, number 87. We don't have an 87 in this series. 31. Patrick Cowgill. We do have a number 31, so the random number generator is spoken, and it thinks that Patrick Cowgill is going to get his first win here tonight. It's as good of a place as any. You think he can do it?
I gotta ask, did you include Nicholas St. Germain or Dalton Geyer or Austin Hunter or Zachary Smith?
That's one of the problems. I don't get to go into the triple digits, but you know, we're adapting the system. We're developing it.
Well, I'm going to do a random number generator from 0 to 420 because, you know, that's the numbers we have been dealt with. 1 second as I get this set up, generating, and we've got 258. We don't. These are all in the.
That's why I can't go to the triple digits. There's too many numbers. There's too many combinations.
We don't have a 91. We're coming down the front stretch.
Yeah, we are ready to go racing here. The random number generator has spoken. It could be Patrick Cowgill, but for every other driver in the field, they are desperately hoping it's not. It's Steve Loving up front. He's won in this series before. He's had multiple poles in this series before, and he's always strong on the super speedways. He's got a deep field of 30 trucks behind him. The green flag awaits Steve Loving here at Talladega. There's 40 minutes on the clock, and we're at a super speedway for the first and only time this season. Green flags in the air. We're racing at Talladega. Loving and Matthew Karikoff down there at the bottom. Two different teams, but really working together. Great push from Karikoff. Is pushing Steve Loving into the lead early.
Two different lines, inside, outside. Talladega is wide enough where you can comfortably, well, I wouldn't say comfortably, but you can go 3 wide. I just don't see with this pack of 31 drivers that we're going to have 3 wide groups until a little bit later in this race. You already see some separation from some of the outside line, or I should say inside line drivers back in the field, but I think the inside line definitely the dominant one so far. We're 1 lap in. Steve Loving, the first race leader. Oh, and by the way, Nicholas Starling was the first number I landed on in the 7.
All right, so there's 2 different options. We're widening our net here. Could be Starling, could be Cowgill. Right now, Patrick Cowgill occupying the top line there, getting a little bit of help from that secondary line, but at least for the moment, they've not built the momentum up. It seems to be the play to ride down here on the bottom, or at least Brett Karikoff hopes it is. Your championship leader, deep in the middle of the pack for the moment.
Keeping up with those Sonic references, I think if Brett Karikoff does anything to hurt his chances of a championship this season, he's going to have some major egg man on his face.
He might just, but look at the way he's holding the wheel.
That's interesting.
Those are some white knuckles.
You know, usually they tell you what to put your hands on. What is it? 10 and 2. I think that's more like 11 and 1.
Something like that. Patrick Cowgill, who we always comment on his Ryan Newman-esque seating position. He looks pretty calm, cool, and collected. It's always a difficult thing to do to lead the top line, especially when you got a driver who you haven't raced that much with behind you, but doesn't seem to be shaking Patrick Cowgill too much.
I don't know if I'd call that calm, cool, and collected. I'd call that very focused and collected, to be honest. This is a really difficult... You know, it doesn't look that difficult if you're not inside the car. When you're inside the car, you're having to deal with the bobbles. You're trying to keep it in place. That's why there's a lane of drivers. There's a lane open in the middle. because it's not time yet to try and pinch drivers down low. This is just almost the holding pattern part of the race. You see down low, getting a little bit hooked up is Steve Loving still with Matt Karakoff. So these drivers are just biding their time right now. No need to rush. Still 36 minutes left. We should talk a little bit about how long some of these cautions may be.
That's something we don't want to talk about because we really hope that we don't have a lot of cautions in this race, but it's Talladega, it's a super speedway. So if we do get a caution, we're going to be spending a solid 7-8 minutes under caution, even with the shortened caution periods on the super speedways. So all these drivers are going to be balancing that with the fact that it's a timed race. If we get a caution within the last 7-8 minutes, we might not go green again. So do you get aggressive early, or do you be a little bit conservative to make sure we get to the finish?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's going to be a little bit earlier that we're going to see go time go for these drivers. I mean, think about it this way. In a Cup Series race at Talladega, it's 188 laps. It takes around 50 seconds. We're going to round that up pretty generously to a minute, as we're watching with Colton Easterday right now. So that means we pretty much started this race with 40 to 45 green flag laps to go, if it stays green the whole or the majority of the way. So realistically, it is go time, but I think we're going to have this holding period right now where it's not going to be so serious to try and get up front. You're still trying to get the feel for all the drivers around you.
I think Colton Easterday is the same mic arm I do.
Does it obscure half your vision?
It kind of does, right here in front of my face. It kind of does. Brendan Chatley, though, he's going headset mode. I still enjoy seeing that classic PA basement behind him.
I agree.
It's very, very well lit, but I do wonder, is that giving him a little bit of glare on his screen, like unlike some of the guys who have their lights turned off?
I mean, we can kind of see the glare coming off his TV, so there has to be glare coming off his monitor. I would assume so, as we may be going only 3 wide right there. I don't know if that was 3 wide that Garrett Alston wanted to be on the outside. I almost feel like he shuffled himself out of there accidentally and was not able to get back into position. There is a gap, though. He hesitated, and he's not getting back down there.
It seems like Garrett Alston might be thinking like LCD sound system. Yeah. It's time to get away, go to the back, I think. He found a hole. Like you said, there was definitely an opportunity to get down, but he's certainly getting down, and he's going all the way downtown to the back of the train.
Funky town. You know,
here comes Patrick Cowgill. He's got his teammate up there. As Garrett Alston got shuffled out, Kevin McGarvey took the role of the Patrick Cowgill pusher. The 2 Whataback trucks have linked up, and Patrick Cowgill could lead this race if he goes down, but he's not going to leave his teammate yet.
These 3 cars are almost getting ready to have an accordion effect up top. They're swaying back and forth. That makes me a little bit antsy. A 4th car has been invited to this party. I don't know right here, Joey. These, the top 6, or I should say, the top 5 cars in the bottom lane, the top 6 in the top lane, they are really hooked up, but I don't know if that's a good thing at this moment. A little too aggressive.
And notice Ryan Traver there in the 28, 3rd on the top line. He got into the back of Kevin McGarvey. He pushed the pusher a little bit, and I don't think that made either of those 2 trucks very happy. He's actually pulling out a line now to get a little bit of fresh air on the nose. Ryan Traver does not seem very comfortable there, 3rd in line.
Would you?
No,
look at how much they're
absolutely
going.
not.
Look, he just came down really hard, took a really nice turn down left. He did it again, almost like he's sawing at that wheel. It's really helpful to tell where these trucks are in each groove because of the lines that go right through the entire track. We're really able to tell how much sawing is going on in these corners. Of course, that can be a little bit hairy if you're the driver behind, or if the driver in front of you is right on your nose.
Brendan Chatley running 4th in line on the top. He's come very close to winning a couple of races this season. Was on pole at Martinsville last week, was on pole at COTA to start the season. He definitely wants to get another one of those wins to add to his tally, but right now he's got 1 driver between him and his 3 Whataback teammates. So what can you do at this point? Can you get Ryan Traver out of the way to reach your other 2 teammates, or are you just going to have to suck it up and ride in 4th right now up there in the top line?
No need to do anything except ride in fourth or just go to the back. I mean, let's be honest. At this stage of the race, if you're in the top 4 on each lane, that's okay. You're pretty much contending for the lead at any 1 second. This is a really tightly contested group right here. I'm really impressed with their driving abilities around 9 laps into this race. Lap 10 we are on right now. But this top trio, a little bit too close and not connected from bumper to hood, very head-on.
I want to bring your attention to a few drivers here because there's 2 drivers who are deeper in the field than you'd expect who should be in the fight for the win. First and foremost is Austin Hunter in that number 312, currently biding his time at the back of the field in 26th. But Dylan, last time we went to a super speedway in this series was Daytona last season, and you know who won that race? It was Austin Hunter, so look for him to start moving his way forward here soon.
Austin Hunter, really fun guy to talk to. As we see on screen, Ryan Traver is fallen off the pace by 1 car length, and he gets it right back up. That is the effect of the draft here. You can make up so much time if there's some space. Look at how close these 3 up top are. Now the bottom gets a little bit accordioned up.
Another good push from McGarvey, but I think he's going to need to clear both of those waterback trucks over the nose of Steve Loving before they decide to go down. Cowgill is truly clear, but again, he decides, I'm not going to leave my teammate. I like being up here with my old buddy Kevin. I don't want to go down with Steve Loving just yet.
I just don't think it's necessary to right now. Again, you got to make sure to finish first. Continue.
First, you must finish.
That is correct. That is what these drivers have to remember right now. We're getting a face full of Ford.
I always love a face full of Ford, and I don't want to jinx anything here, Dylan, because the last 2 races at Martinsville and Gateway, we had a lot of cautions. There were some teething issues. There were some incidents. But we've just gone 10 minutes green at Talladega. This has been a great run so far for the trucks.
It's weird, isn't it, right? When you're at a short track like Martinsville, it's almost expected that contact's going to happen, not necessarily that cautions are going to come. When you're at Talladega, you expect cautions to come, not contact to happen, if that makes sense.
It makes reasonable sense. I think we can do a little bit of logic there, and we got it down.
Logic, I've got all of it.
The University of Science, the professor of logic there, coming to the line. This is going to be interesting to watch here. Can Cowgill actually lead this lap over Steve Loving? Yes, he can. So like you said, Dylan, I think Cowgill's definitely happy to stay up there. He could stay up there this whole time and win the race up there. Sometimes the top does like to fall out, especially at Daytona, and I think it definitely will fall out of favor in the Xfinity race, but in the trucks at least, with the lower power, the top seems to be as good of a place as any.
You know what's going to come into play, though, if we go green for a very extended period? Fuel.
The F word.
That word, yes.
The fuel word.
Yeah, that's, you think about it this way. If we go around 45 laps of green flag racing, we are already well past the point of that 80 to 85 miles on a single full tank of fuel that a lot of these cars can go. And look at Traver thinking about going outside, and now we got a car in the middle, and moves are being made.
That's Brendan Shatley. Remember what I said about those 3 Whataback teammates finding each other? They're not going to find each other because Brendan Shatley is making it 3 wide. McGarvey goes up to the top. Cowgill's up on top as well.
All messed up.
And now Matt Karikoff takes up the top line. It looks like Chatley's going to follow him up to the top. There's one little bobble. Here comes Chatley to the top as well with a run. He's going to make it 3 wide on Karikoff to join his 3 teammates.
Hey, if you're Chatley, you got to go with the speed and that momentum. If he stayed right in the middle, if he stayed right down low and maybe gave St. Germain a push, it wouldn't have really done much to help his push up to the front. And now look who is leading that outermost lane. It's going to be Chatley. I'm really surprised that St. Germain is, not St. Germain. Yeah, actually St. Germain is just kind of chilling. Karikoff, I should say, is chilling in the middle right now.
It's a nice little Karikoff sandwich there.
It is.
I'm amazed at how well he's sticking with these 2 packs. He's getting like a double side draft of sorts, and he's not lost anything. It's incredible.
I'm actually Okay, he's going to start to lose things right now because that side draft, oh no, a spin in front!
Oh, Brendan Shatley gets into Steve Loving. The two leaders of the lines come together.
Caution.
Can Steve Loving get it slowed down?
Oh, no!
Can Shatley get it slowed down? No, he can't. Comes back up the track, and that will most likely be a caution, but nothing yet. Austin Hunter gets involved. No caution. Everybody is still pointed straight, so no caution comes out of that. But both of your race leaders get absolutely hosed, as does Austin Hunter.
Now there's a caution?
I think that may have been an admin thrown caution eventually, but I'm not sure. Austin Hunter was parked on the track, so that may be what brought out the caution. It was not an admin caution. It was automatic. So I think Austin Hunter may have just lost it again. Eventually that triggered the caution, but we are under caution for the first time officially.
And let's just remember this. It was around 26:30 time mark that we started this caution lap. How long could it last? And we'll get the replay here.
I think nobody hit Steve Loving. I think Mr. Steve Loving might be pretty well off here. The only contact made was with Shatley up there on the top line. That's Cowgill and Shatley, and those two trucks leading the top line. Cowgill in the 31, giving Shatley a push, little bit of movement, little bit of motion, and takes both of them out. Shatley can't get it slowed down, and the only truck he collects is his poor old teammate Austin Hunter and Oliver Goff as well.
Yeah, looking back at that replay, we see some movement, obviously, up top, and I think it's just an unfortunate push, some unfortunate movement, and that's just what happens in plate racing. We see right here, there's a push in the back, too, some damage. Ooh. Yeah, a few more cars got involved in that than we thought originally.
Well, my question is, how did Austin Hunter end up bringing out the caution? Because the caution's not out here. Hunter is driving back to the pits. Was the engine blown, or was that Austin Hunter pulling back up under power?
Well, I guess the real question is, what happened after the yellow was thrown? And we see some pit stops. Actually surprised that some of these drivers are pitting at the current moment. By the way, Hunter got a tow back.
All right, so I think that means the engine was blown, but he did pull it back up on the track. So we'll let the admins deal with that. But everybody off of pit road here. Steve Loving's going to be waiting quite a while. But notice, Dylan, once we get the ticker back, notice who's leading the race right now. Kyle Strykars did not come in. He's currently your leader at Talladega. Remember back to last season in the trucks at Talladega, Kyle Strykars did this exact same thing, stayed out, hoped that the rest of the race would be caution-filled and he wouldn't lose the lead, and Kyle Strykars won the last race at Talladega.
I mean, why
could he be doing it again? Could it happen twice?
I'll be honest. He's the only person who made the right call right there. Why would you go into the pits?
Has Kyle Strykars just pulled off a strategy masterclass here? There's still 23 minutes to go, so if we do happen to go green to the end, he probably won't be good on fuel. But if we do get more cautions, this might be a masterclass from Kyle Strykars. I
mean, the real question, we still have at least a lap and a half to go under the caution. So let's just say 19 and a half minutes is going to be that remaining time when we go back under green flag racing. I mean, thinking about fuel, man, if one more caution comes out, he's like guaranteed good.
One driver who's unfortunately not thinking about fuel right now is Mr. Brendan Shatley, who is leading that top line. Brendan Shatley, you were in the epicenter of all that. Talk us through what you felt with that push from behind.
Yeah, Patrick said get low, and netcode happened, so that's great.
Oh, dear. Well, you're in the pits right now. Looks like about 3 minutes of repairs. Is there any chance of getting that truck back out there before the end of the caution ends?
Oh, no, I got 40 minutes required, so...
Bad luck. We'll get you out there in the Xfinity race, I think, once that's repaired. But the second half of the season is coming up. There's been some bad luck here for you in the first half. What are you going to take into the second half of the season to try and turn things around?
Dover's next week, and I feel like that's one of my best tracks. So hopefully we can get a long green flag run and see what happens.
All right. Commiserations, Mr. Brendan Shatley, but we will see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Brendan Chatley out on lap number 16, I believe, number 15. We got one more driver to talk to. His teammate Austin Hunter is here with us as well. Austin, talk us through your perspective of that one.
Oh, I mean, there was a couple cars wrecking, sliding all the way down the track, through the track, and I was one of the last cars there, just kind of riding around waiting. And I saw Chatley sliding and kept waiting for the yellow, and then it never came until I was about firewall deep in them.
All right, well, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked to Brendan. We got the second half of the season coming up. There's been some bad luck in the first half. What do you need to do to turn it around?
Honestly, I just want some races to go caution free. That'd be great. So far, I either finished dead last this season or 5th place, so I would love to finish a little higher than 5th here soon.
All right, Austin. Well, commiserations to you as well. We'll see if you can get that damage repaired, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Austin Hunter, your defending Superspeedway winner here in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. Not going to be quite so lucky this week. Steve Loving is also still in the pits with heavy damage, as is Oliver Goff. Poor old Oliver Goff. You'll also notice that no Robert Goff in the field tonight. Unfortunately, he's serving a 1-race ban after bringing out 2 cautions at Martinsville last week, so we'll see him back in the series when we come next week at Dover. We're ready to go racing here again, Dylan. We've got a car with a little bit of damage in Kyle Strykar's, the only driver who stayed out, and he's going to lead us back to green here in a couple of moments.
Yeah, in just a couple moments, we're still kind of trudging along turn 4. It's going to take a little bit longer to get to where that green flag flies. Think about 20 minutes to go. Let's give or take 24 laps if we run green. We're very close to it just being fine. I think that is what Kyle is hoping for in that 07.
I'm sick of Talladega right now. I'm in full Talladega move because I'm getting Talladega vu with Kyle Stryker as the head of the field here.
I don't
It's
want
a strategic decision. Kyle Stryker stays out front, and we are back to green at Talladega.
I don't know whether I'm sick of or loving your puns.
I refuse to let you criticize me. I just spoke through the whole thing.
I wouldn't call it criticism. I'd call it admiring.
Beautiful. Kyle Strykar's doing a remarkable job of leading here. That is some pretty heavy damage to the left side there, but with his teammate Patrick Cowgill behind him, oh dear. Well, as I say that, there's the parachute.
Yeah, the parachute for sure. And now we're 3 wide. I don't know what that thought process was right there from Dominic Brodeur, but he is being shuffled. Or not Brodeur again, excuse me. I keep looking at the wrong cars. But nonetheless, I don't understand the idea of running on the outside. Of course, that's Matthew Karikoff. I've mistaken identity with him twice now, Matt. Speaking about Karikoff, Matt Karikoff is up in around P4. Brett Karikoff down in around 14th.
He's moving his way forward, but look at the French-Canadian armada there up on the top lines. We ride on board with Mr. Brett Karikoff, just trying to ride here. You see 4 drivers ahead of him there on the top with Ryu, Brodeur, Saint-Germain, and Kevin Jobin. All of those Discarl and NASCAR Motorsports trucks have found each other on the top, and they are moving their way forward as Brett Karikoff just sits back here and bides his time.
Est-ce que tu parles un peu français?
Oui.
Good job. Good job. That was a correct and
all
valid answer. Well, we got a little bit of shuffling going on. Again, Matt Karikoff doing a great job of not letting that parachute really hurt him right now. I wonder... So I don't think this is going to be able to happen in the Xfinity Series race a little bit later where the draft might not be as important because I have no idea as we kind of get everyone pinched down to the inside line how Matt Karikoff is still racing as competitively as he is without any drafting help. He'll get back in line on the outside here.
And we got a new leader on the bottom. Dominic Brodeur and Pierre-Luc Ryu work together. They've ditched 2 of their teammates. And we've got Brodeur and Ryu leading the way. Saint-Germain takes up the top line ahead of his teammate Kevin Jobin. It is just absolute domination for Discarl and NASCAR. It was an invasion of the series this season. They had 5, 6 drivers all signing up to race with us in the Truck Series this season, and they have come to play.
Absolutely have come to play. And I'll be honest, this is we're getting to the point now where it's going to be quite crazy before it gets calmer. I don't think we're getting any more calm moments in this race with only 17 minutes remaining. Just to give you a little bit of a heads up, it was around a 6.5 minute, I believe, caution period. I mean, we might have just 10 minutes of green flag racing. This could be around 12, 13 laps to go before the next caution, next flag might end the race.
The number 311 of Saint-Germain will clear of Dominic Brodeur for but a moment, but yet again, he does not want to leave his teammate up there on the top side. That's the thing you learn in these races. You want to have buddies, and if you've got teammates, you better use them. If you don't have teammates, you better trick some people into working as your teammates.
I think that's what Terry's going to do later on. Trick some people.
I mean, in the Xfinity series, when he's got, 13 teammates at Whataback, he's basically got half the field on his side.
Or half the field against him, if you want to look at it that way.
That's true, that's true.
Whataback driver, what about him?
There's a few Whataback drivers left here, but with this domination of the French Canadians, Strikar's Cowgill McGarvey, who are looking like 1, 2, 3 on the bottom line, they're just midfielders down there at the bottom.
Yeah, this is really getting intriguing. I still don't understand, to be quite honest. Unless we go green the rest of the way, it might be an issue for straight cars. But I don't know. I don't think it's really going to be an issue for him with fuel.
Get excited here, Dylan, because PRL doesn't just stand for Precision Racing League, as we know. It also stands for Playing Race Cars Loud. And we're going to do a little bit of that here. Let's listen to the truck sing around the 2 2/3 of a mile Talladega Superspeedway. It's time to do a little bit of PRL. Always very worried when we do that, Dylan, that one of the most effective moments of the race is going to happen while we're trying to let everybody do their sounds, and it did exactly happen that way, because we are 3 wide up front now. The third line has formed up top with Matt Karikoff and Brett Karikoff.
Third line has formed, and they are 3 by 3 by 3 as a lapped car. We run by him. Look at the
Poor old
speeds.
Steve Loving.
Yeah, poor Steve Loving. Man, this is going to get intense quickly. We're 3 wide, 4 levels back. Oh my goodness, look at that pack roaring.
And the brothers Karikoff on the top. That's an interesting dynamic. Brett Karikoff has gotten his first 2 wins in the PRL on the books. Matthew Karikoff has come so close so many times. He's desperate for that first win. But will his brother want to help him? They're racing for 2 different teams, I believe.
Help him, help you, get to the front, and then try and run away with it. That's all you can hope to do, as we're 13.5 minutes away from the checkered flag from the last lap coming out. Still 3 by 3 by 3. They're 3 wide, some rows back. Oh, we're wrecking!
Baron Hilton, Kyle Strikars is involved, and they're all piling into the back. Unlucky 13 minutes to go, and caution number 2 has struck. Multiple drivers involved. Alan Dice makes it through. Brendel makes it through. Richard Pruitt not quite so lucky in the Pepsi number 24, but it's all kicked off again in the middle of the field.
Yeah, all kicked off again, which means that we're going to probably have one more restart before potentially the next flag ends the race. So give it 6.5 or so minutes.
Kevin McGarvey involved as well. That was Baron Hilton, who was in the middle line, and we didn't quite see what happened there with Baron. He got into Hayden Palumbo. Oh, he gets a little bit of help. He gets turned by Garrett Austin up there on the high line.
Some cars kind of hopping after they get hit. No one turns over, but they're still wrecking, still spinning, and oh, that's a hit to the side, the left side. That kind of came out of nowhere. 12 minutes and change remaining in this one. This is the time where if you sat back, you better not be sitting back anymore. It's go time. This would have been the time for the cars in the back to feel comfortable about starting to make moves. I mean, now it's anyone's game, and with everyone being so close together that we're going to get on the restart as every truck kind of slows it up in turn 4. This is going to be a very interesting ending. We hope that this is the last caution.
And I must correct the record. I said that the two Karakoffs are on 2 different teams. They are not. Both Matt Karakoff and Brett Karakoff are part of the main Regenboog Motorsports squad. Neither of them are on the secondary squad. And they're joined by their third teammate, Colton Easterday, who is also in the top 10. So things are looking very, very good for some of these last couple of teams that have actually survived to the end of the race. We've got 3 Regenboog Motorsports cars in the top 10. The Whataback trucks,
Look
though,
at straight cars.
have not been quite so lucky. Strike Cars just got heavy damage for the second time, and he's staying out again.
I mean, might as well. Track position, I guess?
I guess.
Now I'd say maybe try and get the damage. You're still on the lead lap. And, well, actually, he's 13th.
If we get an instant caution, he would hold that position. It's happened before, but
it's not a bad idea. I love the strategy, like off canterness from Strike Cars.
I don't think everybody behind him though on the bottom is going to be too happy with him. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
He might be the bridge that breaks.
It might just be like the Fern Hollow Bridge in Pittsburgh. But a few drivers did elect to bring it down pit road that time. Traver, of course, with some damage on that car. Cowgill, Austin, McGarvey, Hunter, and Richard Pruitt, all heavily damaged, all getting some of that repaired. Stacy Hunter was one of those trucks who was sort of in the epicenter of it all. He's got some heavy damage, as did McGarvey. But we've still got a good amount of survivors up here up front. I count 17 trucks with little to no damage, and Matt Karakoff leads the way. Could this be the time he gets his first win? Remember back to Daytona last season, the last super speedway, he was about a nose away from winning. Austin Hunter won that race by inches when the caution came out, and I'm sure that's still on Matt Karakoff's mind.
I mean, I'd have it in my mind too. It's kind of a redemption, right? If you can get back to a track that you came so close to winning at, you wanna show them it wasn't a fluke, right? You want to show them that you've got the talent, because a lot of people say, and I hate this saying, not just because I've won in some leagues at Talladega, but it takes some skill in addition to luck at a super speedway. That's why you so often see the same drivers up front at a super speedway every single race. You almost need to see the draft and just understand how the air flows around you. And he's doing a really good job of staying up there and obviously, again, fighting for the win. Speaking about fighting for the win, my random number generator is doing better than yours.
That is true. Nicholas Starling, who Dylan's chose.
Doing that hot no matter what, though, so...
He's P14, so it could be better, but also, I don't even remember who my guy was. Oh, it was Patrick Cowgill.
It could be worse than it is.
Cowgill's still on the lead lap, though, so it's not over, but he's gonna have a hard time getting back up there, I think, with that damage.
You know, usually I'd say that, especially in the race, it's anybody's game, but because potentially, I mean, we're not going green until there's around 6:30, 6 minutes left to go in this race. I mean, that potentially is going to end it, the next caution. So you try and say that anyone could still be in it at the end of a lap race at a super speedway, because if there's a wreck in front and you avoid it, well, you pick up a bunch of positions and you still have at least 2 laps to go. Well, here, if there's a caution, you better hope it takes everyone out in front of you and you can just scoot on by, because that would be it.
And it wasn't just Daytona where Matt Karakoff had some heartbreak last season. There were multiple races where he put it on pole, put it up front, and had technical issues during the race. There was the race at Charlotte where he was leading before he had an issue with his wheel and had to park it. So all these close calls are all in his mind, and he is one of many, many drivers left in this race who's looking for redemption. Colton Easterday up there on the top line is trying to turn his luck around finally, and all of those newcomers from NASCAR and Discarl, all 1, 2, 3 in line there up on the top. it's going to be a little bit like a chess match here when we come to the restart with 2 different teams battling with 3-car armadas.
3-car armadas. That sounds like a really interesting band that's in heavy metal.
I mean, Arjuna is a heavy metal connoisseur of his own. We might have our band name brought up here. We got a guitarist at least.
And I'm a piano player, but there's not really that much space for a keyboardist in a heavy metal band, I don't think.
You gotta talk to Race Spot producer Connery Maddock. I think they would know about pianos in rock. There's a lot of symphonic rock over there in Connery land. So we'll work something out here.
I love that. I gotta talk to them about it.
So we are ready to go green here once more at Talladega. Hopefully, or guaranteedly for the last time. Matt Karikoff going for redemption. He's got his teammate and brother, Brett Karikoff, behind him. And it's a 3-truck armada for the French Canadians up on top. We're ready to go green for the final time at Talladega. And here we go.
They're
it's
almost
a great
wrecking.
start. It's a great start for both of the Karikoffs, but things did get very much out of shape on the high line.
Yeah, that was horrible in the back. By the way, Strike Car is going down to the apron. His truck is not moving well at all. The outside line got totally held up. A horrible start on that outside line. But yeah, it's the brothers Karikoff right now. Matthew in front of Brett. You think Brett will really push Matt right here? I think so.
Not quite yet. Doesn't put bumper to bumper, but I think he's going to start thinking about that soon as he gets a push himself from Hayden Palumbo third in line. Things are getting dicey here, but Kevin Jobin leads that top line with Saint-Germain behind him, Brodeur behind him as well. And look at Sullivan and Starling. The third line is forming again.
Yeah, but oh boy, good thing they got to this little front stretch quickly because of that lapped car right there. That could have been
a run for Dallas Sullivan. He's going to take the lead, but is he going to ditch Starling? No, he's not. He's still going to lead it at the line, though.
All that matters at this point, as he's getting a push on the outside line, is that you're in the lead when the next flag waves. The next flag, unless we've got a quickie caution, will end the race. So, it's a battle against the rain, pretty much.
It is essentially a race against the clock as there's contact with Starling and Saint-Germain, and Hayden Palumbo flips. The caution is out, and that could very well be the end of this race. Matthew Karikoff was leading when the caution came out. It's looking likely like he just won his first race. We got a parking lot in the back straight, and they're still getting into each other.
Yeah, they're, I like what Cody Atkins just said, that was fun while it lasted. I never thought they would be able to hold it for that final lap. I mean, there might be a way that if we have a quickie caution here where it's just 2 laps, I just don't see it.
Yeah, let's analyze what happened when we can. We'll do a little bit of diagnosis and a little bit of treatment here. You see further back, Nicholas Saint-Germain in the middle there in the 311 just gets a little bit high and I think gets into Starling, and then after that, everybody else just piles in.
Yeah, that's a big mistake. I wonder if he had a little bit of help. Oh yeah, he had a little bit of a tag up there.
Yeah, you got a little bit of, I think that may have been Starling getting a little bit low, but everybody else, Dalton Geyer piles in. Hayden Palumbo almost flips. I think that's our first flip in the truck series this season.
I'm gonna call it a full trick.
Well, actually, we did have a flip in the Texas race. Somebody got stuck in the safer barrier. Everybody's just trying to get back in line here. When we get to the line, it's going to be 2 laps to go, I believe. There's been... Oh, they're almost wrecking under caution. Figure it out, everybody. Well avoided there by Ryan Traver. It is a 99% chance that we won't get a restart here, but there's been some craziness this season. There's been some unexpected restarts. We can't rule anything out until the checkered flag is actually shown.
I mean, if we get to the point where a green flag was shown with, say, 5 seconds left, but they haven't crossed the line, you know Matt Karikoff is going to have the slowest start ever. I just don't see it. I mean, we're pretty much asking for 2 laps under yellow with them going 65 miles per hour. Basically, I mean, we can just do the math here. It's going to take around 4.5, 5 minutes for them to do this. So this race is over.
Yeah, unless we took
Ryan
one to go there.
unless we take what Ryan Travers is trying to persuade Matt Summer to do.
Is he telling him to do a -1 pace laps here?
He's saying extended by a minute and a half.
Ah.
I would like for them to extend it a minute and a half just to still be under yellow, because I think that's what would happen.
That would be pretty funny, but Brett Karakoff here, what a season he's had. Started at the back, didn't have a great qualifying, completely stayed out of trouble. I think his worst finish this season is something like 6th or 7th. It has been an absolutely incredible run of form for Brett Karakoff. He's either been winning, finishing 2nd, or ending up in the top 10.
Well, his lowest points total was 34 in the 3rd race of the year, so that's pretty much 5th or 6th or 7th.
I'm going to check the exact number here. For him, it was P9, so that's chump change.
Got
top
some
10,
points.
That's not good enough for his standards.
Got some points with the bonus points. By the way, if this holds up the way it does, Strike Cars is the last car on the lead lap. That's why he stayed up.
I mean, that's some good points for Strike Cars. He's only been around for a couple of rounds this season, so it's very much a part-time season for him. I think the critical thing here is a green flag lap at Talladega takes around, what, 46 seconds, 50 seconds?
Yeah, this is over.
Yeah, it's over. We're not even going to get to the line with a green flag lap, so we will take the white flag here, and Matt Karakoff is finally going to get it done after so many tries. He gets a little bit of a victory lap here.
They do call it parade laps for a reason.
Yeah. What's the opposite of an install lap? Is this a download lap?
A breakdown lap. I don't know.
Maybe. The opposite of an install would be what?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What's the antonym? Yes, let's add the prefix to everything.
Yes. There was no white flag in the air there, but I don't think we're going to restart here. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have one of those weird situations where technically the green flag will fly and the pace car will come down pit road, but there will be no racing. It'll just be a shot to the line, a little bit like the F1 race in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you will most likely see 1st and 2nd get penalized at the end of the race, but that will not be held. They will both be given their positions back. The results just might look a little bit weird. I'll tell you that preemptively.
It's it's gonna be. I'm not sure if you're listening to Race Control right now. It's definitely entertaining, but it's kind of poetic that Matt Karakoff is gonna get this win with his brother right next to him.
I hope the Karakoff family is watching. We know the Hunter family is always watching. The Austin
Maybe
and Nick's
not
mom
anymore.
is always watching. So the Karakoff clan is watching. It's the best possible day for them.
Matt's just wiggling it all around, not to get the tires warm, just to.
He's got to get it warm for that 1,000-foot dash to the line.
Hey, listen! I just know if I was part of a 1,000-foot dash, I would. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'd be tearing a couple of hamstrings and ACLs and every other tendon and muscle possible.
I'd stand up and just fall back down.
Me too, pretty much. Especially after a race like this, it has been absolute insanity here. But coming off of turn 4, it is much slower than we expected at Talladega here, Dylan. But I don't think Matt Karakoff cares too much. He is soaking this in.
I guess as the pace car's going in for the last time, I just, it's the one thing. This has been such a fun race, such a great race.
Here we go. It's a dash to the line, about 1,000 feet. The iRacing sedan pace car pulls off. Nothing's going to change, but Matt Karakoff has had so much terrible luck. He lost the last super speedway race by half of a nose, but he's going to win this one by half of a nose. Matt Karakoff pulls it off. It's a Karakoff family 1-2, and it's finally a victory for the 00. Matthew Karakoff wins at Talladega.
It's my one thing. I want to see, I don't know how the PRL will do it, but I want to see something to avoid a finish where there's a yellow with 5 minutes to go at Talladega and we can't get back to racing.
We'll be searching the numbers there. I'm sure they're definitely thinking about things for next season, because ending under caution is always an interesting finish. But I think Matt Karakoff is the happiest boy in the business right now. getting that celebration there to the line, and because he waited behind the pace car, the results are official. They're actually not all jumbled up like some other times this has happened. But like I said, it's a Karakoff 1-2 for Regan Bogue. Kevin Joban comes home P3, and Dallas Sullivan, who took a heavy hit in that last caution, still brings it home in P4 ahead of Dominic Brodeur, Ryan Traver, Thomas Brendel, Cody Adkins, Patrick Cowgill, and Garrett Austin round out the top 10. Then P11 went to Nicholas Starling. Showed so much promise there on the top line, but got turned. Zach Panzarella, Dalton Geyer down to unlucky 13th. Hayden Palumbo almost flipped, but still brought it to the finish. And then McGarvey, Hunter, Strykars, and Steve Loving rounded out the lead lappers. Tom Amasi went 1 lap down. Nicholas Saint-Germain went 2 laps down. And then we start to get into the used truck lot of trucks with heavy damage. Pierre-Luc Ryu, Alan Dice, Colton Easterday, Zach Smith, Richard Pruitt, Baron Hilton, CM Pennington, Oliver Goff, Brendan Chatley, Austin Hunter. I'm going to run out of breath reading all these trucks, and Curtis Norman, unfortunately, never got off the line in the first place. Absolute craziness at Talladega. It's what we come to expect in the Truck Series, Dylan, and definitely a deserving winner. Matt Karakoff finally gets it done.
Yeah, absolutely. He got it done in a really solid way. He qualified third, just on the inside, second row, and held it up there the entire time. So congrats to him. You know what's interesting? We ended on 35 laps, both green and yellow. That would have been like the upper limit for... that would have been the upper limit for a full fuel tank. And by the way, I heard Target acquired and then saw that happen. So
yeah,
I wonder
Matt Karakoff's celebratory donuts getting a little bit of help there, but he joins us now here in the booth. The driver of the numbers 00 truck comes so close so many times. How sweet is this first win, Matt?
Oh, it's about time. It's about time.
It is about time. And how you got your brother behind you there, Brett, teammate and brother as well. Were you guys thinking about working together from the start of this race, or was that just a little bit of luck that put you two together?
Oh, no, we had talked about it all week. Even our other teammates, they did a really good job and got caught up there at the end. But once Brett said, I'm going the third row here and I'm gaining spots, I had to go out there, and he caught me and he did what he needed to do and got me a win.
Indeed he did. The brothers Karakoff 1 and 2 here. We're going to talk to Brett next. If you want us to ask him one question, what should we ask your brother?
I'd like to borrow his basement, if that
good.
would be okay.
Very good choice. But congrats on your win for now, Matt. We'll see if we can sort out the basement for you.
Thanks, guys.
First-time winner, Matt Karakoff, but it's his basement brother here. Brett Karakoff is with Mr. Dylan Coyle.
Yeah, Brett Karakoff, you finished second. I'm sure that you wouldn't love to finish second to anyone. Is there a little bit of sibling rivalry there?
No, that was perfect. I've got my championship points. He got the win. It's perfect.
That looked like it was a pretty celebratory final couple laps. We like to call them parade laps. It's just on the other end of the race. So congrats to the family. Your championship points, you got them. You're going to be around, 40, 50 points up going into the second half of the season. What do you feel like you have to do to consistently get those points, to stay up in that lead that you've got right now? You're on your high horse.
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing is I still haven't had a bad week, right? So I don't, no sitting back, throttle to the floor and make that lead bigger.
That's all you can do. Well, congratulations, Brett. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what happens over the second part of the season, and go talk to your brother. I'm thinking that he's pretty excited as well.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, and congratulations to him, and we really appreciate the coverage. Thanks.
All right, Joey.
We always appreciate. We'll see if we can get Brett Karakoff into that basement there, or if we can get Matt into his brother's basement. We got one more driver to talk to, though, and that is our third place finisher for the first time here, Mr. Kevin Joban. Talladega. Were you hoping that race would end green, though?
Yeah, it's a very fun race. Lot of green lap.
We're very happy to see all of your teammates here in the series. It's been great to see basically all 6 of you guys. Talk us through how NASCAR and Discarl Motorsports came to be and why you chose the PRL this season.
I'm not very good in English. I will try to speak better I can. we are 4 guys run together maybe 3 years ago, and we watch all your race in YouTube, and this year we will try to perform in this league.
Well, we hope we see a lot more of that performance. Congratulations on that first top 3 here, Kevin, and we'll see you next week at Dover.
Yes, thank you.
Kevin Joban, P3 here at Talladega. Those are 3 very, very happy drivers, Dylan.
I'd be happy if I finished on the podium in a racetrack like Talladega. You want to keep the momentum going, and Talladega is one of those races where it's so easy to have the exact opposite happen. Well, no problems for them.
Well, if you haven't had enough Talladega, we're going Talladega-ing again here in a matter of moments. But next week, our sights are on Dover, because Dover, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's Dover over there. A very different track to Talladega, we can say that much.
Just a bit. It's my home track. It's your home track. It's Mr. Chatley's home track. That's why I think he said his favorite track. He feels like he's great at Dover. I wonder if it's because he saw it so many times in real life that he wanted to race it a lot in the sim.
Maybe. It is weird that people in the Philadelphia area, technically Pocono's our home track, but Dover is actually closer, I think, which is weird.
Absolutely. I grew up just around 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia, and Pocono's 2.5 hours away, Dover 1 hour. So there you go.
Yeah. I guess the closest place technically would be somewhere like Wall Stadium, but unfortunately we don't have that on iRacing.
Oh, that's even farther away from us than Dover or Pocono.
Yeah, but we are ready to go back to Talladega here. Speaking of very far from Pennsylvania, we're going back to the Deep South. And once again, I'm getting Talladega vu because we are back in Talladega, but this time it's for the PRL NASCAR Xfinity Series. The stars and cars of this series, it's been dominated by Richard Regan Jr. and Abner Acosta for the first 4 rounds of this season. But it's Talladega. Everything can change. It's anybody's game. Whose game will it be here? Plenty of surprises await after the opening 4 rounds of the season. But when we take a look at this calendar here, Dylan, it's going to look very, very similar to the Truck Series calendar, but not identical. Notice that in the second half of the season, we go to a lot of similar tracks, but we'll be going to Charlotte for the season finale instead.
Well, look at race number 9. It's Texas here, North Wilkesboro in the Truck Series. Could you imagine having Xfinity Series cars at North Wilkesboro? Oh, goodness, that would be amazing.
I heard a lot of drivers saying, you know what, we kind of want to go to North Wilkesboro instead of Texas, but we will have to make do with Texas. We'll put on a good race there as well, but maybe next season when we get one of those off weeks, we might have to stick these Xfinity Series drivers at North Wilkesboro.
I'd color me shocked that someone doesn't want to go to Texas Motor Speedway and would rather go to North Wilkesboro, though, if we're being honest.
I mean, I think that's a very popular opinion. I think a lot of drivers might share that. And speaking of a lot of drivers sharing things, Richard Regan Jr. and Abner Acosta have been sharing all of the points basically this season. Nobody else has won a race other than those 2 in the first 4 rounds of this season. Richard Regan Jr. holds a 9-point lead over Abner Acosta. Bradley Holly has been consistent, hasn't quite got back to victory lane, though. He's trying to end the 1-season winless streak here and get back to victory lane. He's almost tied with Danny Cervantes on points, and then last season's champion, Elliott White, has just not quite had the same form this season. He sits in P5, and it's Jeff Evans, Thomas Sink, Adam Zemke, Colton Lane, and Mr. Mark Kalin down to the end of the top 10. All those drivers really hoping that Talladega is the place where they can break up the monotony of the Regans and the Acostas, because it's been almost impossible to beat them over the first couple weeks, Dylan.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot harder to beat them as the season continues to go on. But look at also, of course, how tight it is at the top of the standings for their 2 teams. I mean, 2 points. Team standings are a little closer than the driver's standings. Whataback obviously dominating positions 3 through 5. But from second on back, third's kind of just chilling in itself in overdrive. It's going to be interesting to see what continues to go on as the season passes its halfway point. I meant what I said about Talladega being a very difficult track to keep your momentum going at, and very easily we could see catastrophe happening to any of the leaders here.
Well, Dylan, I got to make sure to recuse myself here. I got to make sure there's no conflict of interest, because Precision Racing Esports, I might be more inclined to root for them now because I got a DM the other day from Mr. Jerome Bertiome. I think there might be some PRL swag coming Race Spot's way, or coming my way at least.
You're cool.
I'm so cool. I'm gonna gloat about this. I'm gonna brag about this because it's all coming my way. But I promise that won't show on my commentary. Unrelated, Abner Acosta, Michael Diaz, and Elliott White are the best drivers in the world.
I can't even say with a straight face that Terry Radford's the best driver in the world. I'm sorry, Terry. I love you.
Are you getting Whataback shirts? So if you get Whataback shirts, you might have to say that.
I mean, Jeff Gordon was in the Fox booth, right? And was also with Hendrick, and we heard that very often.
That is very true.
It's it's always funny as we have 1:50 to go left in qualifying. It's always funny nowadays when and this is off topic from PRL, but NASCAR Fox broadcast seeing whenever Stuart Haas is having an issue or something and Tony Stewart's in the booth, Clint Boyer will eat that up and just laugh at Tony about it.
I love Tony Stewart. We got to get Tony Stewart in here for a PRL race one of these days. I think he'll do it. He's an iRacing guy, or at least he was.
There's apparently a NASCAR night here. I'm gonna go. How about that? There's a NASCAR night next Thursday before the 4-wide start at D-Max Dragway in Charlotte. Oh yeah, and the NASCAR night is for people in the industry. Woohoo! And there's gonna be there's a grudge match between, is it Chase Briscoe and Tony Stewart, maybe?
Something like that, but Abner Acosta's coming to the line here. I think this is about to be a huge lap. Yes, it is. 54.277. Not as huge as I thought, because his teammate Elliott White has actually put it on pole himself. He heard me dissing him a little bit, said he's been off form in the first 4 rounds of the season, and he said, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to put it on pole.
Well, Danny Cervantes is going down on the apron, which... I'm actually curious. Does the league enforce the double yellow line rule?
In the race, yes, but you can do it in qualifying.
Interesting. See, that's an interesting note because it really does cut out a few hundredths here or there.
That's basically qualifying coming to an end. There will be a few drivers who are not allowed to qualify as well, but we've got 11 seconds left, and you know what that means, Dylan. It's random number generator time. Let's see who I get this time.
Wait a second.
I got the number 14. There is 14. There's a new driver this season in the number 14, Matt Gagnon. So that's our pick. That's the random number generator's pick. Matt Gagnon will get his first win if the random number generator's right.
See, I don't like the way you're doing it. You got it. If you're gonna do it realistically, go up to 184.
I think the only 3-digiter we have in this series is Nick Hunter. So
and Bradley Holly.
Oh, and Bradley Holly as well. I can't believe I forgot about Bradley Holly. Jeez, but Elliott White. Elliott White puts it on pole at least. He's got a 2-digit number. And he starts alongside Mr. Jeff Evans. Then Jacob Emery, absolutely not a memory. P3, that's his best qualifying in this series, alongside championship leader Richard Regan Jr. Doyle Lawrence, P5, alongside last week's pole sitter Danny Cervantes on row number 3. And then P7 went to Abner Acosta. Bradley Holly, how could you forget about him with that beautiful photo there? He's P8 ahead of Charles Sumner and the random number generator's own Matt Gagnon. Chris Justice, we saw him in the Truck Series for the first 3 rounds this season, but he's moved up into the Xfinity Series, and he starts alongside Adam Zemke on row number 6. And it's Mike Knight, unlucky 13th, alongside Kerry Graves, and Mark Kalin, Corey Precker, and Daniel Knight were the last 3 drivers who set qualifying lap times. Now, Colton Lane was allowed to qualify. He elected not to, though. He'll start P18. Terry Radford was disallowed from qualifying, so he'll start 22nd. Jim Westerfield was allowed to qualify, didn't. Reese Bogue, same thing. Thomas Sink, same thing. Doug Evans, your defending Talladega winner in the Xfinity Series, and Nicholas Hunter to his right side. And then Jeremy Bailey, another driver who's moved up from the Truck Series, starts 25th. It's a smaller field here in the Xfinity Series, but it is quite the field of drivers, and I think we're in for a similarly exciting race, and we're also in for a higher per capita rate of Zoom usage, because you've got Corey Precker there up in the top left. Austin Hunter is just still hanging around, just watching the race. He'll hang around for as long as he wants. Jeff Evans there on the top right. Then Bradley Holly, Richard Regan Jr., not Callum Ilott, and Jeremy Bailey in the middle. Terry Radford representing Sundrop. Mark Kalin racing in the dark. And Chris Justice, who has the heart monitor back as well, down there on the bottom. Hi, Mark Kalin. How are you?
I was actually going to ask, hey, if you're listening to us, give a thumbs up. I wish we got to see that. But can we talk about the Whataback trio of paint schemes we got going on this week, I should say. They're very topical.
They are very, very topical. I always say that somebody at Whataback has too much time on their hands, but they don't. It is all worth it. It is absolutely worth it, because if you look at the front row, normally we see Jeff Evans in a bright magenta car, but instead we're gonna have to call him something very different this week. He might be Jean Evans.
Ricky Bobby is also in this race, as well as Cal Naughton Jr. Cal Naughton Jr. Why did I say Cal?
Cal Radford Jr. And then you see a little bit further back in the 41, it's Dougie Bobby.
Dougie Bobby. That just doesn't flow, you know? You need that Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, I need that miracle flow.
Hasta la vista.
Oh, we're switching languages now. But I'm looking at Doug Evans back there in the back, because he is our defending Talladega winner in that was in the Truck Series last time we went there. So Doug has quite the form around these super speedways when he's not getting into issues with Terry Radford like they did in the official series a couple times. So look for Doug to move his way forward.
Hey, I also did a random number generator, but I did it in a fairer way, where we went 0 to 184. Because that's how you should have done it, Joey. I'll stop complaining about it right now. And you know who's going to be really happy? Really happy that I got him? Race Control, Charles Sumner.
Oh, I mean, that would certainly be a popular win. For all he does for the PRL, he might as well get himself a win here. But we are ready to go racing here. 10 more minutes on the clock. It's a 50-minute race for the Xfinity Series, and it is the Pink Panther himself, Elliott White, on pole, your defending champion, trying to turn his season around. Could Talladega be the place to do it? Got Jacob Emery behind him. He's got a whole field behind him. And for the second time tonight, it is Talladega Vu. We're going racing in Alabama. Richard Regan Jr. and Jeff Evans not teammates. It's strange bedfellows up on the top, but they have cleared Elliott White. Are they going to go to the bottom? No, they're not. They're happy to stay up high for the moment, and they finally get cleared down to the bottom and bring Danny Cervantes with them.
Man, that was a really aggressive move down to the bottom, but did you see how synchronized that was? They are hooked up and good to go.
Danny Cervantes and Richard Regan Jr., both teammates at Regan Bogue Motorsports. Jeff Evans, a Whataback driver. And everything just kind of sorting itself out here as Doyle Lawrence moves up to the high side with Matt Gagnon behind him. Everybody's trying to get down to the bottom, but there's still a few stragglers trying to make the top work.
Yeah, I was surprised that Doyle Lawrence kind of let his position go. He's been keeping up with the inside line, but I think that's going to end a little bit. Still not a hole for him to get back down underneath. He's going to drop all the way back to the rest of the outside line competitors. You see the difference in the inside and outside line. Outside line doing well to get organized in the back of the field, but the inside line's just completely hooked up.
Wondering if the dynamic is going to be a little bit different here in this race. Not just because there's an extra 10 minutes on the clock, but because this is a far more experienced field than the Truck Series. A lot of these drivers, they know the meta of these super speedway races. They know how to win these things. I wonder if that means we're going to see a little bit of a calmer race for the first 40 minutes or so.
I mean, calmer, or because there's more time, they know that they can maybe mess around for a little bit longer.
I think I'm immediately getting proven wrong, by the way, because Elliott White has ditched the bottom to go up to the top with his teammate Abner Acosta. We're back to double file all the way through the field. It looks like the pace lap again.
It definitely does, and my goodness, we're just 2.5 minutes into this one, and already we're seeing some moves happening, both at the front of the pack and at the back of the pack. These cars have a fair amount more speed. A fair amount is putting it lightly than the Truck Series counterparts. They're definitely more aero dependent I think if you drop out of line, you're going to be hurt a lot more than you were in the truck races. There's a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the tri-oval for Jeff Evans.
And Elliott White and Abner Acosta is well above of him, getting all sorts of out of shape there. I shouldn't have said anything about keeping calm, because these guys are certainly giving us the excitement here in the first 3 minutes as they're 3 wide, a couple of rows deep. Everybody's giving it 100% right now to get track position.
Yeah, what was that? Trying to call it out early that it's calm. We're going 3 wide here at the front.
Doyle Lawrence and Matt Gagnon there up on the top side. Daniel Knight coming into the middle with Mark Kalin. But we are 3 wide in the lead pack. Terry Radford and Chris Justice trying to work together to move their way forward as well.
Yeah, Terry is doing a good job, up 6 positions this lap alone so far. He's continuing to move up the order, starting from 22nd. He's the first of the drivers starting in the 20s to really move his way through the field. Actually, he's one of the highest movers in this race. You know who's the biggest mover, though? It's Daniel Knight, up 12 spots that time by.
Could this be the night of Daniel Knight? Could he finally return to victory lane? We'll have to wait and see. Look at him, 3rd in line there, doing a little bit of pushing of the pusher. It seems like that is
sketchy.
Seems like that's far more attainable in the Xfinity cars than it was in the trucks, though.
I don't know about that. I think
it might also be the drivers that have changed as well.
Hey, maybe a little bit. Maybe they're a little bit more used to it, and they haven't been pushing each other as much. They're just at higher speeds, and these cars are definitely harder to handle than Truck Series counterparts. They're hitting speeds of around 190 miles per hour as we move through this large tri-oval. You see that accordion effect again happening here with fewer cars, but they're closer together. They're just packed in like sardines.
If this was our producer, Arjuna, or Martin Brundle for that matter, they would call that a concertina effect, but we're going to call it an accordion tonight.
Interesting. I need to learn. I need to learn the ways.
I never knew that, actually, because I was always hearing these British commentators talk about something like the Constantina effect. I thought, is there some Russian guy named Constantina? No, it's just an accordion. They call it a concertina. It's the difference is in language. They always confuse us.
I have a Billy Joel album that just says concert,
just concert,
but in the Russian alphabet.
Oh yeah, the one he did in the USSR.
You know, he went back to the USSR. But that's
the Beatles.
Didn't
he cover that Beatles song
did.
As well?
There you go.
I remember Pressure's on that album. He did a live version of Pressure.
I mean, we're just big Billy Joel fans here.
I mean, there is a lot of pressure up front, and not just the type. Because look at Terry Radford there, up on the top line. He said he was going to be aggressive. He said he was going to the front, and he's doing exactly that. But Mark Kalin's going to move up to the top and try and block him off.
I don't know if it's about blocking him off as just recognizing that there's a really solid run up top and trying to get some movement. He'll fall back a little bit into, I wouldn't say the clutches of Terry Radford. Radford might not be the happiest that his progress was slowed down just momentarily, but this is getting good. It's been like this since the start of the race, Joey.
It has been. It's a hornet's nest up front. Nobody, I mean, pretty much the only driver who's inclined to just hang back and let everything go on up front is Doug Evans. He's just been hanging out at the back in 25th, has not been inclined to get involved with anything up front. But the entirety of this 25-car pack is still in the draft. Nobody's fallen off.
My goodness, look at this push that Radford is currently giving into Kalin. Oh boy.
We got Doyle Lawrence behind them in the 9, Mark Kalin in the 62, Terry Radford in the Cal Naughton Jr. paint scheme in the 3. Things are getting dicey off of turn 4, but Abner Acosta and Elliott White now lead the way. They finally got the push on the top line. They've taken the lead over Jeff Evans on the bottom, and it's Precision Racing Esports 1 and 2.
The only thing I'm annoyed about with these this Whataback paint scheme with the Talladega Nights paint schemes is that Ricky Bobby's all the way in the back, just kind of patiently chilling.
That could be the way to go. Like I said, Doug Evans won last time we came here to Talladega. That could be the way to go.
Gotta play the character.
Yeah. Shake and bake, Doug.
He's more like waiting for everything to shake and bake up front.
Is this when I admit that I've never watched Talladega Nights in full?
Get out.
It hasn't happened. Because I feel like over the course of like the last 6 years of my life, I've heard every single reference and every single line from that movie that if I watch it, I'm gonna know it all.
Well, there is a commercial that if you don't chew Big Red, you know. Oh man, if you've never seen Talladega Nights, what are you doing?
This is the reaction I always get, but I don't know. Maybe I'll turn it around one of these days. But I really feel like I've seen it all. I feel like every single part of that movie has been referenced already.
Well, Terry Radford is currently pushing Mark Kalin to the front. Look at that speed difference. Gonna have to be careful. Terry got a little bit loose.
The run did not quite work out there for Mark Kalin from the beautiful Star Wars Lego with the LED lights. We get Terry Radford in his tire. He's down to the middle here, though, getting a little bit of side draft from Elliott White. Is he going to be able to go to the front? That is the question. That's Daniel Knight, by the way, leading the bottom line. Terry Radford is a little bit further up on the top, but all three of them, all huge movers here.
They are 3 by 3 by 3 by 3. Woohoo! Oh, yep.
Regan and Cervantes going to the back.
I don't blame them. It's getting really crazy up front.
Cervantes pulls down to let Richard back in line, and notice that the highlighter yellow car of Richard Regan Jr., Danny Cervantes behind him, Reese Bogue behind him. That is all three Regan Bogue Motorsports drivers. They may have lost track position, but they found each other, and that's beautiful.
Lost but found. You know someone's going to try and make a 4 wide soon. You just know it.
Maybe it'll be Regan Bogue now that they found each other.
Maybe. I mean, the top 11, top 12, I should say. We've got 3 wide, 4 back in line. They're slowing each other down. We're starting to go back to almost 2 lanes, but no. Kalin does not want to have it that way. Terry Radford pushing so hard. We're 3 wide for the lead as we ride on board with the Oculus Rift S Richard Regan has on.
And before we leave Richard, I do want to point out, look at that new poster in the background. He's filling up that wall. That's the number 56 win poster. He tied his number of wins.
That's
so
awesome.
He got his own little poster made for win number 56. Unfortunately, it's outdated now because he's a perfectionist here, and he's not on 56 wins anymore. He's on 58 now.
Oh, don't mention that. Don't mention that. Look at this.
3 wide. It's truly 3 wide now as Chris Justice almost gets into the side of Doyle Lawrence. Justice doesn't seem comfortable in the middle there, but who does?
I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable. They're on lap 13, 15 minutes in, or I should say just around 11 minutes into this race. When is the first domino gonna fall?
That's the question. Mark Kalin not able to make that third line work. He's actually backed out of it. I wonder...
He's going to go back up.
Is that self-preservation, or is that just losing the run? We'll have to see if he does go back up there with Terry.
If Terry's willing to give the push, and I think we know he is, someone will go up there, and Terry's... Listen, the biggest thing about Terry Radford, we know that aggression is going to be there. If he sees an opportunity, if he has a run... He's not going to just take the foot off the throttle and stay in line. He's going to try, even if it hurts him, he's going to try every lane possible to move forward. You got to respect that. If you're within the top couple like groups, if you're in the top group but you're close up front, you still have a chance to get back up quickly.
Remember, the heart rate for Chris Justice was about 104 before the race started. We're now well and truly into the 120s. We are above the normal range now. We're in tachycardia levels. Chris Justice is definitely feeling the pressure. He's sweating a little bit.
I'm sweating just watching these guys. And because it's like 70 degrees and I have the doors open.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't help. It is truly summer here in Pennsylvania again. But
what's it like up there right now?
It's been so bipolar because it was 80 degrees on Monday, then it was 40 degrees yesterday, and now it's 70 degrees today. It makes no sense.
I saw something on Twitter that showed a picture of the thermostat in the car, like the AC. In the morning, it's all the way on the right on the heat. When you're coming home from work, it's all the way on the left.
I think you and I might need to put on a heart rate monitor for one of these broadcasts, though.
It's up there right now. Look at Barney. Look at him just enjoying this. Not even a clue that a screaming pack of these
Looks like he's watching Family Guy on his iPad.
It does kind of look that way, doesn't it?
Boring race, he's saying up there. That on Snapchat or something, but hopefully he doesn't have to break out the yellow flag. Hopefully we can keep him there. Just minding
You
his
didn't
own
just say
business.
that, did you?
I know. I might have jinxed it, but I think we're okay. They've been well behaved so far. I'm not inclined to jinx anybody today.
During a broadcast on Monday, I may have jinxed within literally 1 second of me saying something. 3 times I jinxed people.
Was this a
Let's just say it was dirty and in Tennessee.
I mean, at that point, is that even a jinx? That's just kind of expected.
That's an expectation, not a jinx.
Exactly. So we are back to double file here as Knight and Acosta come together. Acosta's able to save it. He gets on the brakes, but he is going all the way to the back. He's lost his teammate. Daniel Knight takes the lead, but after a little bit of contact.
I love what Terry just said over the driver radio. Abner, that was awesome.
It was a great save. Some of those road course skills definitely came into the fray there with getting on the brakes that quickly.
You know, it's interesting looking to where he's falling back to. We'll get the replay right here. Yeah, just he came up a little bit, and driver up top coming down. We'll catch the back angle right here on board. And yeah, just that's a racing incident. Nothing too much to worry about. And because there's really not any difference between these packs, they're separated, but they're still stringing along everybody. Abner can get right back into the fold very quickly.
Daniel Knight has left his 2 buddies there up on the top line. Now it's Matt Gagnon and Chris Justice working together to lead that top train.
Number generator.
Random number generator working out very, very well. And look who's up into the top 10 in the background as well. Doug Evans is up into the top 12 at least. It's all getting crazy up front here as Elliott White is going to try and fall to the back and I think find his teammate again.
I would say they're getting more spread out, but they are up front, but everyone's coming closer together from the back. So everybody is within around 2.5 seconds of the lead right now, which means they're going to smush up together very soon.
So we're 15 minutes into this race now. If we do continue to not get the Y word, when do you think drivers are going to think about coming in for the first time? How far can they extend this?
They can extend it to around lap 32, 33, 34 if we go green the entire way to there. Maybe a little bit before. I would say you're going to try and hold it for as long as you can just because you don't know when that caution is going to come out and you don't know how it's going to affect how everybody races because of being a timed race. But again, let's just say 80, 85 miles on a single tank of fuel. It's not too hard if you want to do the math as well, where you just do 80, let's say 85 divided by 2.5. You know what that gets you?
No. I can't do math in the booth. You're dividing by decimals here? I got no clue.
We got around 34 laps. So 34 is probably the upper echelon of what these drivers can do. And obviously some drivers are not feeling the effects of fuel drainage as much as others, especially the ones who have been mired in the draft in the back. They're going to be using a lot less fuel. Maybe they can go 1 extra lap, and hey, maybe that changes the game if they do that and a caution comes out.
Gagnon and Justice now leading the bottom. Mark Kalin up on the top. Little bit of smoke. Somebody checked up. Colton Lane gets into the wall. I think Daniel Knight exploded. I think Daniel Knight just blew up in the middle of the track. Caution is out as they pile in. Colton Lane involved. Mike Knight involved. Corey Precker. I think that puff of smoke we saw was Chris Justice blowing up. I mean, Daniel Knight blowing up.
Daniel Knight? What in the world?
From second place, he was pushing Mark Kalin, and remember he has a little bit of damage from that little bit of contact with Abner Acosta. And as he just explodes here, I think.
I think we're riding on board. Let's just listen. There you go.
That's a couple ammo, as David Hobbs would say.
Man.
Look at Terry. If we get an onboard with Terry Radford there, that is going to be the perspective of the season as everybody fans out. But how bizarre.
Yeah, some damage, though.
Yeah, there was some contact there with the back of Adam Zemke, but that could have been far worse. But I've rarely seen that happen before. We know temperatures get high here on the super speedways, but to blow up that early for Daniel Knight, that is bizarre.
That's just crazy. The real question is what were his temps?
Too hot, clearly. Too hot to handle.
Wow.
We see something new in the PRL every day, but it's pit stop time, and understandably, with the fuel constraints, everybody's going to bring it down. Race leader Matt Gagnon brings it in, as does the entirety of the rest of the field. And poor old Daniel Knight there. He's going to be in the pits for the rest of the race as they try and get a new engine from NASCAR to put back in that car. But this is going to be, it's not necessarily a critical stop, and Mark Kalen's very thankful that it is because he went diagonal and missed his box, but it's the one pit stop you're going to make tonight.
You know, the crazy thing, and we're watching all the pit stops happen, and very quickly we see a little bit of a change of who's going to be up front, who's not going to be up front. Coming out first, though, is appears to be Danny Cervantes.
Fuel only for Danny Cervantes. Gagnon and Justice, I think, took 2 tires, and just about everybody else behind him took 4 tires. Richard Regan Jr., fuel only. So 3 different strategies here. No tires, 2 tires, or 4 tires.
Again, it's just overthinking. There's no need to grab tires. There's just no need to grab tires.
Your first 4-tire taker is Jeff Evans in 5th, and remember, he was 3rd, so he's lost a little bit of track position with that.
Listen, we're going to go back to green flag racing maybe on lap 24 with half of the allotted time remaining. We're looking at, let's just say, if we went green again, like 55-ish, 60 laps total. How often do you see a cup race in the real world happen that's a 60-lap stage? They all come to pit in the middle of it for fuel only. Am I wrong?
You're very correct, and I love that we get the sigh of disappointment sometimes with, like, Dylan very much does not approve of your strategy, and I think that may have been very smart for Danny Cervantes because he's been just fine. Unfortunately, though, he has lost some of his teammates, so that's the only negative I can think. Everything else tells me, good job, Danny, you got the lead.
Yeah, it's just he was the only one who used the right strategy here. The only one. I could see the reason for deciding to take right side tires if you want to get maybe a little bit more grip. There is no reason to take 4 tires. You are not putting any heavy loads on the left sides, as we see Richard Regan going into pits. Yeah, you're not putting any loads on the left sides. There's no reason to take 4 tires.
Are they taking tires right now? Have Richard Regan Jr. and Reese Bogue just come in to take 4 tires?
I'm angry.
They have. They've just come in to take 4 tires.
I don't get it.
I think the field may have actually turned on you here, Dylan, because now Danny Cervantes is the only driver in the field. Actually, no, Jacob Emery as well. There's 2 drivers who have not taken tires now, and everybody else has. What an interesting race this has become.
I'm very adamant about. I'm pulling a page out of Mr. Radford's book with getting very passionate about his racing strategic beliefs here.
That was just incredible comic timing with the Regan and the Bogue of Regan Bogue Motorsports coming in, taking 4 tires. Oh, what a race we've had today. But we're ready to go back green here in a matter of moments. And up front, it is Danny Cervantes on no tires versus Matt Gagnon up there on the top in two-tire shod machinery. And also something I just noticed when we get to see the side of Matt Gagnon's car again, I was very curious as to what that sponsor on the side of his car was, because I can never read it, but it's flipped, and the word flipped is flipped.
That is branding marketing 101. Once we go back green flag racing, by the way, 31 to 32 laps that we can go on this one, if we go one full green flag run, which means we could see fuel become a slight issue if we go green the rest of the way.
We'll add in a fuel mileage race to the tire strategy as well. This is getting absolutely crazy here at Talladega. But Danny Cervantes started from pole last week, has taken the pole here on this secondary restart here this week. He's got Matt Gagnon and Mark Kalin both searching for their first oval wins in the PRL to his top side. He's got Chris Justice behind him as well. 26 minutes to go on the clock. We've got about half the race here to go at Talladega. Danny Cervantes leads us to green. We're back racing Talladega.
Outside line got off to a horrible start right there, but they're going to be more bunched up. Danny Cervantes got a huge head start, and the accordion effect begins. We're making moves in the fourth row.
They're taking advantage as quickly as they can. Jeff Evans staying down there on the bottom, but Gagnon and Justice, they've been working together all race long. They've found each other up there on the top again. Mark Kalin back to third, but look all the way in the back at the highlighter yellow number 56, Regan and Bogue for Regan Bogue. They're making the full third line already.
Only one car, obviously out of the race, but everybody else, 24 rest of them, still on the lead lap halfway through the allotted 50 minutes. We're coming to the halfway point of not just this race, but maybe the halfway lap. We'll see.
3 wide already. Elliott White sandwiched in the middle there. As
they're closing down.
They're all swallowing him up. Close quarters in the middle. Bradley Holly almost gets into the back of Elliott White. Is there a third line? Is there a second line? Who knows? It's all jumbled up front.
No one is
they
bailing
still
out
haven't figured
now.
it out. They're going 4 wide.
4 wide action! Finally!
4 wide down the back straight. Chris Justice says, I am not interested in going 4 wide here. Gagnon almost gets into Bradley Holly on the top, and Thomas Sink and Terry Radford, I think, came together. No, Terry's fine, but they are flipping in the background as Reese Bogue ends up in the wall. Jeremy Bailey is around as well. Huge wreck, and the caution is back out at Talladega.
Doyle Lawrence says, wow, unbelievable. And I think he's going to have a good reason to feel that way as we kind of slow down here coming through turn 3, and he just tags the 48 car. Thomas Sink going for a ride. Oh, man. Jeremy Bailey. Kind of have to almost say that's he placed in full blame, but he just came up and tagged him.
Thomas Sink just gets completely clipped there. Nicholas Hunter involved as well. Reese Bogue, just gets squished like a bug.
That is not a nice sounding engine.
Reese Bogue.
No!
So that'll soften the wound a little bit. And the reason I mentioned Terry Radford, by the way, is I saw him in the
he was in the vicinity.
he missed it again. He's had 2 just absolutely insane rides. He's had his best luck of the season so far tonight.
Man, we still have 23 minutes left.
What's going to happen next?
I don't know, but I do know one thing. We're at the damaged car counter is getting very, very high up in range. By the way, also, fuel is no longer a concern for any of these drivers. And after, I forget if we got a second lap there of racing. Look who's still in the lead.
Good old Danny and Jeff Evans. They were some good buddies there up front. I have a feeling that Danny Cervantes has not had the most luck at Talladega so far this week, because I just looked at his iRacing safety rating.
Oh no.
He's currently at 1.27, so I think he's had a bad run of things here in his practice races so far this week.
One does not practice at Talladega, Daytona, Bristol Dirt, and expect to keep their safety rating up.
Yeah, that's why I lost my A license at one point, because I lost it all at Talladega. I got demoted to B.
I don't think I've ever been demoted in oval racing, but I think I was demoted once in road racing.
I think I've been demoted in both, because there's been times, especially with broadcasting, like I'll just forget that my safety rating is lower than it needs to be, and I'll just lose it. Bradley Holly looks shocked that he's still alive right now.
He's got the force.
I love
he's
that
one with
wig.
the force.
I love that wig. I feel like that was the thing that was added last week, and I don't know the lore behind this. I don't know why this is happening.
See, I was gonna ask if that's a wig, but I didn't want to ask and seem rude if it wasn't.
Well, that's not a wig on Jeff Evans's head. I just also realized that we've got a lot of doppelgangers in this series. Jeff Evans, if he shaved, could pass off as Race Spot's own DJ Clark. We might have to get them together.
You know, I wonder if Jeff Evans might look like another guy named Doug Evans.
Maybe. Doug Evans is not giving us his camera this race, which is unfortunate. We got to get Doug on cams as well. We got Corey Precker here,
and we can see the reflection.
Yeah, well, that's his living room actually behind him. They got the lights turned off though. Sometimes his family members are back there. We see some phantom feet, but not so lucky this week. Richard Regan Jr. He's got the OV gloves on, which always give him good luck, and he's cleaned up his room a little bit. We're used to seeing like water jugs and stuff back there, but he's organized things. He's cleaned things up.
During the fantastic year of 2020 and 2021, I was doing some Race Spot broadcasts and had a very messy room in the background on my webcam in college, and let's just say people called me out on it.
Well, I think Richard, he may have a partner that lives with him now, so I think that may be why the room was cleaned up a little bit. We see Terry. You'll see him
Smile,
everywhere
Terry.
on RaceSpotTV. Yeah, Terry, if you can hear us, give us a signal. Give us a nice semaphore. I don't think he can hear us. I think he's talking to his teammates, like Mark Kalin, one of his teammates. And look at that display behind him with that proprietary Lego. But he's put some beautiful LEDs on there.
I see some more Star Wars. Is that Commander Cody down there?
Could be. I don't know my Star Wars either.
You don't know your Star Wars?
Nope, I've never seen a single Star Wars movie.
Oh man, let's just say I had 40 minutes of high octane Mandalorian season finale watching today.
I think Dylan and I are just gonna have to like spend a week catching me up on all the movies I haven't seen. Because I haven't seen Talladega Nights, haven't seen Star Wars.
I am coming to Dover, next week, and I'll be in Philadelphia for the week after. So
one day I got to see the Mario movie too. That's the main order of business.
I have not seen that yet. I have not seen the Mario movie. What is Terry saying in the chat?
I don't know. What is he saying in the chat?
He had a random question, and somebody said, "What? Terry just said." He's quoting Talladega Nights.
I see. I would be confused too, but we're ready to go racing here again. Lights are out on the pace car. 18 minutes left to go, which is shocking to me. This race has been very, very fast paced, but it is a long race. We still got plenty of time here. Danny Cervantes leads us back to green. It's Whataback 1, 2, 3 up on the top side though, and that's always a scary sight when you got three teammates working together.
We are still at we're still at the mercy, remember everybody, of that clock. So once we get around 6 minutes, it's going to be the next flag ends the race. Oh boy.
If you're in the Race Spot chat right now, we've got some of our regulars with Russell Banfield and Matt Schaefer. Give us a prediction. We've got the random number generator. Who do you think's going to win this race? Who's going to survive to the end? Could it be our pole sitter, Danny Cervantes? Could he finally return to victory lane for the first time in many seasons? We'll find out in about 17 and a half minutes. But for now, we're ready to watch him lead us to a restart with Jeff Evans to his outside. It's Talladega time once more. We're green again. And he immediately nopes out of the bottom.
My oh my. The separation is wild. I will still very much make it known if Cervantes stays up front till the end of this race, how smart he was.
Call him Dr. Danny. There's an absolute galaxy brain maneuver there, but he's ditched the top already. Went up there for the push, went up there for the momentum, and instantly he's back down there with his buddy Jacob Emery on the bottom as Elliott White is already trying to make it 3 wide again.
Oh, Elliott, you're going to be hung out to dry unless he gets some help. Look, the third line just formed because the former outside line decided to become that middle third line. Look who's pushing his way through. It's Abner Acosta.
Abner Acosta's going to find his teammate, the yellow number 5 of Abner Acosta, and his pink teammate Elliott White. Jim Westerfield and Doug Evans up on the top as well. The Whataback drivers moving forward. Precision Racing Esports stuck in the middle, and there goes Jim Westerfield down to the bottom. Bradley Holly, rather, down to the bottom.
Oh boy. Lots of shuffling of lanes. 16 and a half minutes to go. We are under a maximum of around 20 or 19 laps remaining.
The Whataback drivers have split up a little bit. Evans and Kalen working together on the top, and then Bradley Holly kind of on his lonesome on the bottom. He's working with Danny Cervantes, who was a Whataback teammate for so long. Switched to Regenboog Motorsports this season, though, to fill out their roster. It looks like they're still teammates, though, with Cervantes and Holly working together down there on the bottom.
Everyone looks like they're teammates until the white flag is out, buddy.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see the teammates work together for a bit longer, but I mean, especially if there's a yellow that comes out very soon, the camaraderie might stop. It's not like the Karakovs are both up front, right? It's not like the Evans are both up front right now, I should say at least. Teammates are one thing, brothers another, but a race win is a race win.
Mark Kalen got a little bit out of shape there off of turn 2. Elliott White had to back out of things to not turn him. I know tires aren't falling off right now, but Mark Kalen, he looks like he's had some better handling days.
A few of these drivers might have had some better handling days if... oh, goodness. I'm just not sure what to expect. I think this is anybody's race within the top 15, top 16, to be honest with you. Pretty much if you're on the lead lap, you got a shot right now.
Pretty much. There's still 20 drivers on the lead lap. If you're Nicholas Hunter, you're probably out of luck because you got heavy damage, but all the way back to Terry Radford there in P18, that is basically everybody on the lead lap as Evans takes a peek out to the outside. Danny Cervantes takes over the top. Still a bunch of shuffling here up front. Who's got the momentum? Cervantes goes back to the bottom. He's not happy on the top.
Yeah, not happy at all. He doesn't like what's going on there. Now it's time to block. You know that one incident takes 5-6 minutes off the clock, and another almost completely negates the rest of green flag racing. It's time to block. Jeff Evans almost let a man go underneath him. That would have been Mark Kalen. 2 wide all the way back into 15th. And Terry Radford still staying with him. He's the end of this line. You know what Terry said on Sunday? We're talking about the famed number 3 at Talladega in 2000. And the last 5 or so laps moved from, what was it, 16th, 18th to the win. Could that be Terry?
Anything could happen, but it's formation flying here up front. Evans and Kalen, Holly and Cervantes. They've switched orders a little bit, but these are 4 of the most experienced drivers in the PRL. They were teammates for so long. 3 of them still are. These are 4 drivers who know how to race each other. They know each other's tendencies, and I wouldn't be surprised if we got a caution. I would be surprised if it came from those 4 up front.
You know, just pace laps, 200 almost miles per hour between these drivers. Oh, man. Who's going to make, again, we've seen that first move been made to the outside very frequently. Who's going to make the next move to the outside to make it 3 wide?
Fortunately, Nicholas Hunter has had to pull onto pit road. He lost all audio, so bad luck for him.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
I feel like this is the place where you need audio the least, but I think he also may have had some other technical issues that made things even worse.
I gotta be honest, man. you have audio issues at any track, all of that stimulus, that stimuli that you get from hearing what's going on with the engine, I mean, that completely ruins.
Takes you out of the immersion.
It does, but it's not even that we're looking for immersion with audio, right? It's just you want to be able to it's feedback. You know, same thing as force feedback. When you hit something, you expect the wheel, you expect the butt kicker, you expect other things to give you that feedback, that vibration. It's the same thing with the sound. When you hit that throttle, you expect to hear the engine. It almost helps you understand more what's going on in that car.
Things are about to get dicey. That is Nick Hunter back out on track. He must have sorted out his audio issues. Gonna have to get out of the way very, very quickly here because he's got the whole pack coming behind him, and he does the very courteous thing of dropping it down there to the apron. No harm done to anybody.
They're just biding their time right now. I mean, we're around 6-7 laps from the next flag ending the race.
Things are getting dicey. We're starting to see people get out of line a little bit, whether it's to poke out to get some air on the nose or just some ill handling. Things are not as orderly as they once were. Kerry Graves gets out of line a couple of rows back, and Mark Kalin and Danny Cervantes almost come together as they squeeze into turn 3.
There is a slow car in front of these competitors. You can see him, it's Thomas Sink, a little bit in the distance, going 30 miles per hour slower. He stays all the way up high. Track will narrow up just a little bit after the tri-oval. I think he'll be completely out of the way, though.
Sink does the courteous thing, gets out of the way. I think we've survived another lapped car, so it won't be the lapped cars that cause any trouble, but as happens so often, it's the drivers up front that cause trouble with each other. Jeff Evans now clear of Danny Cervantes, but he's not going to leave his teammate Mark Kalin. He's going to stay up there on top. Nobody's showing their hand just yet. There's still 10 minutes to go.
Joey, it's go time. These drivers need to start making moves to the outside. They need to just try it. It's just about picking your marks, though. You can't go around the outside if no one's going to help you.
A little bit of a blink there from Mike Knight in the background. So who's going to be the first one to go, do you think? You think the Precision Racing Esports teammates move up there with each other? Who's going to be the first taker?
Why not Terry?
It could be Terry. He definitely needs some buddies, though. He's got Doug Evans up ahead of him, who's a teammate. He's got Jim Westerfield. But he's got to start getting organized here soon because time is running out.
Look at that focus there. One blink. I think that's it for the rest of this lap.
Just enough to wet the eyes. That's all you need.
Now I'm paying attention to it.
I know. I was doing exactly the same thing. Just wait until I tell you to notice your own breathing. That'll make it even worse.
By the way, you can see your nose.
Yeah, that doesn't work so bad for me because I'm just staring at my mic in my peripheral vision this whole time, so I'm obstructed anyway.
You just made me think about it too. 9 minutes! Come on, guys, make a move!
9 minutes to go here. Still a holding pattern up front. Bradley Holly not showing anything just yet. He could move up to the top if he wanted to go with his teammate Jeff Evans. But he says, not just yet. I'm staying down here on the bottom with Danny. No, Bradley Holly does eventually make it up to the top. He does get ahead of his teammate. Terry Radford is up there on the third lane a little bit further back, but Bradley Holly takes the lead.
Holly takes the lead, but we do have a taker up in the third lane. It's Chris Justice. He has a little bit of help. The third lane, no! Oh, goodness, I thought it was getting formed. And then right at the death, Richard Regan pulled out of it. Look at the speed. Regan's got around 5, 6, 7 miles per hour faster than a lot of these drivers around. Oh, boy. We're coming to lap 40. 8 minutes to go.
Bradley Holly has not won in 2 seasons. That is something we've never said about him, as there's a little bit of contact further back. Chris Justice saves it. Shake of the head, but no issue there. He's still pointed straight, as is Zemke. But things are getting dicey.
Matt Gagnon says, keep it straight, guys. Woohoo, baby.
Chris Justice still pointing in a straight line, but up front, Jeff Evans trying to steal that lead back for Bradley Holly. Holly basically just did a little bit of leapfrog there, pulled out behind Danny Cervantes, got a push from Jeff Evans, and then took it back down to the bottom and stole the lead back.
We're probably at around 2 laps now. If not just a final lap before a caution would end the race. So if you want to go for it. By the way, the only driver with non-fresh tires is still the second one on the inside line.
It's looking like it's a very good call from Danny Cervantes here, but essentially what Dylan is saying there, if you're gonna wreck, you better do it now. So
right.
if you're gonna do it, but I don't think they are. They've been very conservative still. I think all these drivers are inclined to make it to the white flag at the very least, and I hope that does happen. Because I really hope we get a green flag finish here. I really want to see how this all shakes out.
It looks like a little bit of a checkup. Regan's able to kind of pull a little closer to Abner Acosta. Acosta and Regan find themselves together again. 4th and 5th in the outside lane.
Doug Evans up to the high line. He's got no help up there. Not going to be able to make that work. Evans and Kalen were actually both clear of Bradley Holly for a moment, but neither of them elected to move down to the bottom. They're going to stay up there on the top. It's a civil war for Whataback right now. Will Holly be able to lead the bottom to a win? Will Evans be able to get the momentum up on the top? They're going to cease to be each other's teammates very, very soon if they haven't already.
I mean, man, we're at the point now. This is it. Wreck ends the race. I'm shocked they didn't make their moves earlier.
Jeremy Bailey up ahead, a lapped car. He's going to have to get out of the way here very, very soon. Evans is going to lead at the line. Does Bailey pull it down to the apron? Yes, he does. Jeremy Bailey gets out of the way to let the whole field by. Well done to him. 5 minutes 30 to go. You can feel the tension right now. If I had a Chris Justice heart monitor right now, it would be well in the triple digits.
I would hope it would be in the triple digits.
Well, you can have a healthy heart rate in the double digits, but right now I am
not in this kind of race.
Exactly.
3 wide.
Abner Acosta and Elliott White up to the top. Precision Racing Esports moving and shaking up there on the top. Regan's not going to follow him. He's going to stay with the Whataback drivers, but the duo from PRE trying to make it work.
This 3 wide racing at the front, 3 rows deep. They can all move up. They can all get closer to the competition. Let's have it. How about 4 rows it's going to come to in just a moment? Just inching ever so slightly ahead. Oh, goodness. It's Elliott White. But fighting back on the inside is Jeff Evans. Oh.
That could very well be the finish. We could very well have a 3-wide finish here that looks exactly like that. Bradley Holly and Jeff Evans are certainly hoping to go that way as Mark Kalen gets into Danny Cervantes. No caution as they're all on the apron. They're all off track. They're all pointing straight, so no caution is going to come out for that. We continue racing. Cervantes pulls back up on track. Mark Kalen parks it on the racing surface and brings the caution out. And Elliott White is likely going to be your winner. He led at the caution. Oh, dear. And he robs his teammate Bradley Holly of the chance to return to victory lane unless we get a miraculous restart. But let's see what happened here. Mark Kalen in the middle. He did get some help from Elliott White there.
Oh, boy.
Makes contact with the wall.
I wonder if there was a bad push to Evans.
Bam.
Yeah, Evans got out of shape because of Abner Acosta's shove.
Kalen brings the caution out and essentially ends the race because we're not going to get a restart. We'll take a look at what happened again here because Mark. We'll watch the push here, Dylan. We'll analyze. Let's see what happened.
Well, the push was definitely a bad push. We'll see what's going on up top. Yeah, kind of coming up and hits him in the top, like the rear right almost. And because it's the end of the corner, pushes him kind of up the hill, forces him to turn down. And I'm sorry, but someone should get a extremely stern talking to after that one. And look at who's coming up the field. It's Mark Kalin, who thinks that it was just Elliott White forcing the issue. It wasn't. It was just a racing incident, not the best push at the... It was a push at the wrong place, right? Wrong time, wrong spot.
Well, the ironic thing is, because Mark Kalin brought out the caution, Elliott White wins the race. If we kept it green, Elliott White very well could have fallen out of the lead, but now his win is solidified.
You know the whole saying, call it as you see it? I'm trying not to do it.
Yeah. Charles Sumner is in the session, so he could theoretically give us an accelerated restart here, but I don't think he'll violate the rules. I don't think we'll get a Michael Massey situation here. So I think it will
We're
be
going motor racing.
I wish we could go motor racing right now, but we're only on the back straight right now. We might not even make it to the line before the clock ends. So one way or another, this is how Elliott White turns his season around. He's finally going to get back to victory lane. I'm going to calculate the numbers here, because this will be Elliott White's 5th win on Wednesday night, but he has won in so many different series. This will be his 9th win, so he's not quite in the double digits yet, but that'll be a number for him to chase next week when we go to Dover.
Yeah, Dover's going to be an interesting race. Dover is one of those tracks that you really can't run too wide on the exit of the corners because it's almost like a roller coaster, right? It's like a hill you go up, and very quickly the wall comes out of nowhere.
I think the driver who's going to be more unhappy than anybody is Bradley Holly, because he had a winning streak of every single season on Wednesday nights. He had won a race in every single season until last season. The streak finally ended. This looked like it could be the night where that streak finally came alive again, where he could finally get back to victory lane. But unfortunately, the caution comes out a little bit too late, and he will get no chance to fight for it this week. We're going to come to the line here. Elliott White pulls it down pit road for some reason. He can win the race on pit road if he wants, because nobody else is allowed to pass the pace.
He's stopping.
Is he stopping?
No.
What?
No, Elliott White just lost the race.
Why? Why? White flag. Black flag? Did he reach the instant limit? I don't know how you would reach the instant limit, because he only made contact with somebody once. What has happened to Elliott White? Why did this have to be the race, Dylan, where we get all these anomalies?
I mean... oh, wow. Elliott White, I see a comment in the chat saying maybe he felt bad if he caused that. He didn't cause that!
No, he didn't. If anybody caused it, it was Abner. But the instant limit in this series is 24x. If you get 24x, you get disqualified. There's no drive-through penalty. There's nothing like that. So what did Elliott White get a penalty for? I'm trying to think of what it could be. He didn't pass the pace car. He wasn't illegally ahead of anybody. He didn't speed exiting the pits because he was never in the pits. I am so confused. Did he get a meatball somehow?
If he got a black flag... We're watching the replay. Watch this. It was just a bad push, right? Wrong place, wrong time. Got a little bit loose from Acosta. And this is what the issue is, because this is why we're now having controversy, and we're gonna see it. And it was a black flag.
Abner. Not even a bad push. That's just one of those restrictor plate racing deals there.
I say bad push. I just mean with the result, not with how it happened. Yeah. Right? It was just the wrong spot to hit him in the track and in the rear. Right? Like, Oh my goodness, they're coming.
Well, somehow here, it's a Talladega night for Jean Girard. We call him Jeff Evans, because the number 51, against all odds in the most confusing of fashions, is about to come to the line to take his third win in the PRL. Jeff Evans wins at Talladega after his dad Doug won the previous event. I think he's just as confused as us all there.
Wait a
second. Pete, oh, I think that's the pace car penalty thing there. Jeff Evans did cross the line. He is your race winner, but he's as confused as we are. How about this for a victory lap? He's getting some help from Richard Regan Jr., from Abner Acosta. Corey Precker's on the scene as well. I don't think I've ever seen a more bizarre finish in the PRL.
My opinion is a very solid one. I think this situation would be avoided if there was a rule stipulation next season on super speedways with how the race ends. I don't know what it is, but and I'm sure it's behind the scenes being talked about, but you know where reactive stuff happens before proactive stuff a lot of the times in racing series. I think this is one of those cases.
I think Mark Kalin will be, he might be with us next week at Dover. We'll have to wait and see what happened. The results are not correct on your screen here. Jeff Evans did win. Bradley Holly finished second, and I believe everybody else behind that is correct. So Abner Acosta was third, Richard Regan Jr. was fourth, Chris Justice fifth, then Sumner, Westerfield, Doug Evans, and Terry Radford down to the end of the top 10. Terry gets his first top 10 to the end of it all. Then Corey Precker, Matt Gagnon, and Danny Cervantes down to 13th place. Mike Knight, Adam Zemke, Jacob Emery, Colton Lane, Mark Kalin, Kerry Graves, and Jeremy Bailey down to 19th. Then Bradley Holly was second. Jeff Evans was first. And then we get into the real results here. Thomas Sink finished one lap down in 20th. Elliott White, who knows what happened to him, with a sure win ended by a mysterious black flag. He finishes 21st. Nicholas Hunter, Reese Bogue, Doyle Lawrence, and Daniel Knight were all part of the used car lot. Drivers with heavy damage, and of all of them, only Nicholas Hunter made it to the finish. Oh my goodness, what a bizarre race, but we do have some drivers to talk to. I think Jeff Evans is getting his deserved victory laps in right now. So for now, we'll talk to our P5 finisher, just moved up from the Truck Series. Chris Justice is with Dylan Coyle.
Chris, congrats on the 5th place finish. Hey, you'll take a top 5, especially when it came with a pass almost under yellow, right?
I will definitely take a top 5, especially my second race in the Xfinity League. I'm very happy about that.
What was going on? What was going through your mind at the end of the race where, and this is what we were saying, right? You expect a little bit more action before that 5-minute mark comes around, because realistically what happens is when there's a yellow, that's the last green flag racing lap of the night. We saw 2-wide action going on, not much 3-wide action. Do you feel like there was a little bit of hesitation from everybody and that led to a little bit of a scramble at the end?
I definitely think that's the case. I tried a few times to make that third lane work. Nobody seemed to want to go with me, but once I saw Abner and his teammate on that third lane, I knew it was now or never to try to gain some positions back. Fortunately, it worked out that way. Caution came out, gave me a top 5 finish. I wish it could have went green all the way, but that's the way it fell, so I'll take it.
I love that heart rate monitor right there and bringing it into this race. What did it go up to near the end there?
I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look, but I know there were a few situations. I think there was one right after I was in the lead, I believe, that we went 4 wide and I fell back a few spots, and I'm pretty sure it was probably the highest at that point.
All right, Chris, congrats on the top 5, and I guess we're going to Dover next weekend. It'll be fun.
All right, thank you, guys, and I want to thank Coronado and ACU Web Services for sponsoring me and allowing me to do this, and all my BCR teammates. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good one. Going back to you, Joey.
Indeed, and we did just hear, by the way, that Elliott White,
wow,
we believe that he pulled a Mark Martin, if people know what that means. He may have pulled off 1 lap early and entered a closed pits, and in the process, who won the race, but the guy with us right now, Jeff Evans. Is this the weirdest win you've ever had?
Yeah. Instantly vaults up to number one pretty easily. I think that was something.
We're gonna have to start calling you a little bit of a restrictor plate master here soon, because you got the win here. You're second last time we came to Talladega behind your dad. Why do you work so well around here?
I have no idea. Usually, I mean, a lot of luck comes into play with these things, and for a long time, I had some pretty bad luck here. I'd get taken out in checkups and everything. So it's nice to see it kind of level out and get some good luck going my way a couple of these.
And I only just now realized that if you shaved that beard, you would be a doppelganger for RaceSpot's own DJ Clark. I know you race on Monday nights where DJ commentates, so you better do that so we can make that happen.
Yeah, this is not really growing a beard, just pure laziness and work from home. So nobody to really impress besides my wife. So
well, congrats on the win, or as Jean Girard would say, bonne victoire, Jeff Evans.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, and shout out Miracle Flow for supporting all of us actually this week. Everybody. So thank you, guys.
Indeed. Miracle Flow. And speaking of Miracle Flow, we got another Whataback teammate with a Miracle Flow of his own, Bradley Holly. Almost got it back to victory lane, but P2, how disappointing is that?
Not really. I'd rather have, get a 1-2 with teammates and try to control the race like we did at the end and, have a solid finish as team, basically.
Understandable, but next week we're off to a very different track at Dover. From my memory serves me correctly, Dover was where you got your last win in the truck, so are you looking forward to next week?
Yeah, I've always liked Dover, so it should be a lot of fun, and we've got to do some more official races and try to survive those and try to learn what I need to do and try to get a W next week.
All right, well, congrats on the 1-2 for Whataback this week, Brad, and we'll see you at Dover next week, see if we can get the streak going again.
Thank you very much.
Bradley Holly with the Miracle Flow of his own, Dylan. What an absolutely bizarre night of racing here at Talladega. Both races end under caution, but that is the least bizarre of our concerns. But either way, two definitely feel-good winners. Matt Karakoff in the trucks finally gets the luck on his side, finally gets the win he's been so close to getting so many times. And Jeff Evans, one of the most popular drivers in the series. There's nobody that dislikes Jeff Evans. Everybody's happy to see him get a win. So we'll look at the positives, Dylan.
Fair enough. We'll look at the positives. There was some really good racing, right? We saw a lot of fair and clean racing in both series, specifically the Xfinity series, where we saw three wide racing kind of dominate the middle portions of the race. Was really surprised we didn't see more urgency by the time we were getting into, the single digits in terms of minutes remaining in this race. But coming up next in the PRL Xfinity series, Dover Motor Speedway. Come on. Miss the old international being in there. But nonetheless, Dover Motor Speedway coming up next Wednesday, and that's going to serve as a completely different challenge on the concrete jungle that is the Monster Mile.
Dover, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's Dover over there. We'll have a lot of fun next week at the Monster Mile, the beautiful concrete. But for now, that's about it for us here from Talladega. Crazy night of racing here. But for now, I have been Joey Tebben. Dylan Coyle's been Dylan Coyle. Our producer has been Arjuna Kankapati. We hope you'll join us tomorrow night for more PRL action. We've got the F3 series here on RaceSpotTV and all sorts of different action all the time here on RaceSpotTV. But thank you for joining us here tonight. For now, until we see you next time, so long. Dega!